I was still clutching the pie when my father told me not to come home again. Pumpkin, still warm, her favorite. I'd baked it the night before, using Mom's old recipe. The one that called for extra nutmeg and that strange half-teaspoon of maple syrup she always swore by. 3 hours through fog. I drove to bring it to her, just like I did every Thanksgiving. I thought I was home. We hadn't even said grace. The turkey sat uncarved. The stuffing steamed inside the crystal dish Mom only used once a year. And there I was, still standing, still smiling, still holding that pie, when Dad said, "Give back the 50,000, Rachel. Or don't bother coming home again." At first, I thought I'd misheard. Maybe it was some cruel attempt at humor. Dad was never the dramatic type, and our Thanksgivings were usually quiet, predictable, at least until that night. But no one laughed. Lisa sat across the table, hands folded neatly in her lap, like she was at a funeral. David's eyes were fixed on the tablecloth. Even Mom, sweet, gentle Mom, couldn't look at me. I didn't sit. I couldn't. The pie tin felt heavier now, pressing into my palms. I stared down at it as if it could somehow explain what was happening. "Excuse me," I managed to say. Dad's jaw tightened. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be. What exactly are you accusing me of?" Lisa finally looked up. Her eyes were rimmed red, mascara clinging to the corners like it had been there for hours. Her voice, though, was steady. "Mom's account. $50,000 vanished last month, right after you helped her set up online banking." My mouth opened, but no sound came. It was true. I'd helped Mom with her accounts. She was nervous about switching to paperless statements, kept muttering about not trusting the cloud. One Sunday afternoon, we'd sat together. I showed her the app, walked her through the passwords and security questions. She even wrote them down in the little notepad we kept in the kitchen drawer. That was 4 weeks ago. Now they were saying that's when I stole from her. "Are you serious?" I whispered. "You think I took Mom's money?" David finally spoke, his voice stiff, almost mechanical. We didn't want to believe it, but the bank confirmed the withdrawals were online. No one else had access. No one else but me. I turned to Mom. She didn't move, didn't nod, didn't shake her head, just pressed her napkin against her mouth like she might be sick. That's when it sank in. The pie, the drive, the traditions, none of it mattered. I wasn't their daughter anymore. I was their suspect. I placed the pie gently on the counter. The tin made a soft metallic click against the granite. Then I grabbed my coat from the chair. I didn't say a word. "You have until the end of the week," Dad said quietly behind me. "Then we go to the lawyer." I didn't cry in the car. Didn't scream, didn't curse, didn't slam the steering wheel like they do in movies. I just drove, coat half buttoned, leaving the pie behind on the kitchen counter, untouched. The streets were empty, glowing with porch lights and paper turkeys taped to windows. Thanksgiving night. The whole town smelled of gravy and cinnamon and peace, except for me. I checked into a small roadside inn I'd passed 100 times, but never stopped at. The clerk didn't ask why I needed a room on a holiday. I was grateful for that small kindness. The room smelled like old carpet and microwave popcorn. I kicked off my boots, sat on the edge of the bed, and realized my hands were still trembling. I was 34, a senior forensic accountant entrusted with millions in corporate audits, yet my own parents were convinced I'd stolen from them. The most shocking part? I wasn't completely taken aback. Not entirely. There had been hints all along, small, almost imperceptible signs, like the way Lisa would roll her eyes when Mom boasted about my promotions, or the time Dad casually remarked, "Don't you think it's time to settle down? You know, live a little," as if my career isn't the real world. Even last Christmas, when I offered to cover the cost of a new roof, David muttered something about me buying loyalty. I laughed it off. I still believed we were family. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment Mom had asked for my help with her bank account. Every tap, every login, every password reset, I went over it all. Had I overlooked something? Could someone else have seen the notebook tucked in the drawer? The drawer. Always unlocked. Anyone could have opened it. Lisa still moved in and out of the house depending on her situation. David had a key. Yes, I'd guided Mom through the setup, but that didn't mean I was the only one who knew. Yet somehow they believed it. They truly thought I'd waited for Mom to fall ill just to take $50,000. As if I needed it. As if I ever would. My phone buzzed. A message from Lisa. We didn't want it to come to this, but you made it hard to trust you. Not a happy Thanksgiving or a hope you're okay. Just that sharp, accusatory tone. As if I had broken something. As if I owed them an apology. I flipped the phone face down. At work. My days were spent unraveling embezzlement schemes, shell corporations, and forged invoices. I knew exactly what vanished money looked like, and how someone could make it appear that an innocent person was guilty. And right now, someone had made me their scapegoat. I stared at the ceiling until the lights smeared and blurred. If they wanted to cast me as the criminal in the family, maybe it was time I started investigating like one. The next morning, I woke early, no alarm needed, just instinct. Years of chasing corporate fraud had taught me one crucial lesson. Money doesn't vanish. It only moves. The challenge is figuring out where first and who profits. I poured a cup of bitter lobby coffee and opened my laptop on the motel desk. My firm had recently been tracking a disturbing pattern. Retirees with modest savings accounts suddenly drained in 3 separate withdrawals, each just under the federal reporting threshold. It wasn't limited to one bank, but one kept surfacing more than the others. Greenwell Mutual, my mom's bank. I hadn't told my family I was involved in this investigation. Confidentiality rules technically forbade it, but I had clearance to review the data internally, and I knew exactly who to contact. I sent a quick message to Theo, our compliance officer. Just a name, a date range, and a location. Within an hour, the information arrived, timestamps, withdrawal amounts, teller logs. 3 withdrawals from Mom's account, spaced 5 days apart. First, $20,000, then $15,000. Finally, another $15,000, each one done in person, not online. That was the first crack. They'd accused me of using online banking, claiming I was the only one with access, but the money had been withdrawn face-to-face. It wasn't me. I clicked the link to the security footage. Grainy, low resolution, but enough. The first video loaded, Greenwell Mutual, October 10th, 1 p.m. A young woman approached the counter, nervously glancing over her shoulder. Blonde ponytail, gray hoodie, oversized sunglasses. At first, I wondered if someone had hired a proxy, a stranger impersonating Mom. But then she moved closer to the camera, pulled down her mask to speak to the teller. Lisa. Even through the fuzzy footage, I recognized her instantly. I had babysat that face, watched her blow out birthday candles, comforted her over heartbreaks. And now, she was fidgeting, tapping her fingers nervously on the counter. She handed over what appeared to be Mom's ID and signed a document. Her handwriting, unchanged since high school, was unmistakable. I leaned back in the creaky motel chair, the overhead light buzzing weakly. They hadn't just taken the money. They'd orchestrated it, planned the timing, waited until I helped Mom transition online, then used that moment to set me up as the scapegoat. I clicked open the second video. October 15th, same branch. This time it was David. No disguise, no hesitation. Calm, self-assured. He chatted easily with the teller, signed the slip like the account was his. The third clip, Lisa again. Same hoodie, new sunglasses. The arrogance of it turned my stomach. But something still didn't fit. How had they even gotten access to Mom's ID and banking details? Then it hit me. 2 weeks before I helped Mom install the app, she'd been in for some outpatient tests. Nothing major, just routine scans. Lisa had offered to stay overnight with her. Mom's purse had been there the whole time. Her checkbook, bank papers, driver's license. That's where the theft began. But it didn't end there. I dug into the account metadata. The first login after I'd left town hadn't come from Mom's phone at all, but from a tablet connected to the home Wi-Fi. The same IP address Lisa used to stream Netflix. The one-time password had been sent to a backup email I'd never created. I traced it. The recovery phone number belonged to David. They weren't careless. They were smug. They thought no one would look deeper. Not when the successful daughter was the easy suspect. not when the rest of the family spoke in unison. I shut the laptop. This wasn't confusion or a short-term loan gone wrong. It was calculated. Fraud. And they'd used my trust in Mom as camouflage. I zipped the laptop bag and reached for my phone, not to call the police. Instead, I rang my office. I knew to tell her all of them. I'd need those for comparison. Then I unzipped my suitcase and pulled out a slim black folder, the kind I use for trial exhibits. If they wanted to paint me as the villain, I'd show them what it looked like when the villain brought proof. I didn't give warning. I drove back Monday afternoon. Right as the sunlight turned that warm, amber hue it always did between Halloween and Christmas. The kind of light that once made the house feel alive. Not today. The driveway was packed. David's SUV, Lisa's little car, Mom's aging sedan. No visitors, just family. I parked along the curb, sat there for a moment, engine cooling, my hands resting on the folder across my lap. Inside were every receipt, every timestamp, every lie they'd buried. Then I stepped out, climbed the porch steps, and walked inside. The house smelled like chicken broth and rosemary. The kitchen lights glowed softly. I heard the hum of voices, the scrape of silverware, a laugh that didn't belong to me anymore. They were all in the kitchen. Lisa perched on the counter, coffee mug in hand, legs swinging like she was still a teenager. David leaned against the fridge, arms folded, unreadable. Mom stood at the sink, drying dishes with careful, familiar motions. Dad stirred something on the stove. They all turned when I entered. Silence. I walked past them, set the folder on the wooden island, the same spot where we used to roll out cookie dough. Then I opened it. "You think I stole from Mom," I said quietly. "Let me show you what actually happened." The air shifted, subtle, heavy, like the stillness before thunder. I drew out the first still image from the bank security footage. Lisa in sunglasses, leaning over the teller's counter, signing a withdrawal slip. October 10th, $20,000. Not online. Not me. No one moved, not even Lisa. The second photo showed David smiling in a navy sweater, handing over a check. October 15th, $15,000. My voice trembled at the edges, not from anger, but from holding back. These weren't strangers. These were the people I'd grown up with. Lisa's fingers tightened around her mug. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I laid the teller slips on the table. Same branch, same signatures. I compare them to your handwriting, Lisa, from that note on the fridge last week. A pause lingered. Finally, Lisa spoke, her voice thinner than I remembered. You went through our stuff?" I tilted my head slightly, almost gently. "You went through Mom's." Mom's hands reached for the papers, scanning the print, shaking. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, almost pleading. "But the bank, they said it was done online." That's what they assumed I meant. But the withdrawal itself wasn't online. The online access came afterward, from a tablet connected to your Wi-Fi. The account was set to recover through an email linked to David's phone. A heavy silence settled over the kitchen like snow falling. Dad stopped stirring. Lisa looked away. David stared at the floor, as if a different truth might be hiding there. "You let me think my daughter stole from me," Mom whispered. She wasn't looking at anyone in particular, maybe not even me. "You told me not to come home," I said, quieter. "And you never asked if I did it." That was the sting, not the accusation. Not the threat of lawyers. The absence of the question. Lisa finally met my eyes, her expression twisted. Not with guilt, but bitterness. "You always get everything. The job, the praise, the respect. I just wanted to level the field." I studied her for a long moment. She looked older than last week. Or maybe I was finally seeing her clearly. "You didn't level anything," I said. "You burned it." David cleared his throat, voice flat. "She'll be fine, Mom. Rachel makes more than all of us combined. It's not personal." I let out a slow breath, fighting the chill crawling up my spine. It's always personal when it's family. I watched Mom sit slowly at the table, folder still open before her. Her hands rested in her lap, palms up, as if she didn't know what to do with them. Dad finally spoke. "Rachel, what are you going to do?" I met his eyes. For the first time in days, I didn't feel like the child in the room. I'm not pressing charges, I said. But I've sent the file to the family attorney. You can decide what to do with it. He nodded once, tired, older than I remembered. I zipped the folder shut. My hands moved automatically, a muscle memory honed from years of meetings and investigations. This time it felt like the end. You told me not to come back unless I returned the money, I said. I hadn't taken a cent, but I brought the truth. I lingered just long enough for the words to settle. Then I turned away. Rachel, Mom's voice cracked. I paused at the doorway. Thanksgiving's over, I said. You made sure of that. I walked out without another word. Didn't take the folder. Didn't take the pie. Just my keys. And whatever small piece of me still believed they might have chosen me. I didn't drive home immediately. I stayed in the car for a while, parked across the street, staring at the kitchen window. No one followed me out. The lights remained on. Lisa's laughter never came back. David didn't open the door to say anything. No one came running down the driveway with apologies, and that, more than anything, told me everything I needed to know. Back in Boston, the city felt sharper, quieter. I returned to work as if nothing had happened, though I wasn't quite the same. Sunday night calls stopped. The family group chat went unchecked. The voicemail icon blinked for 3 full days before I finally listened. It was Mom, Rachel. We were wrong. I know that now. I didn't want to believe it. I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive us. I just wanted you to know. The house feels empty. She hung up before the minute mark. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived. Real paper, real envelope. Inside, a photo. Me, Lisa, and David at 6, 8, and 10, sitting on the back porch in mismatched Halloween costumes. I was the scarecrow. Lisa had tinfoil wings. David was slathered in red paint. On the back, a single line. We didn't know how much we would miss you until you were gone. No signature. David didn't reach out. Lisa didn't either. But a cousin who still lived nearby said they had both moved out. Mom stopped talking to them, said she needed space. I didn't ask what that meant. I didn't offer to return. Instead, I built something new. I launched a weekend seminar at the community college. Financial protection for older adults. Not glamorous, but it was mine. One Saturday after class, an older woman approached me. I wish I had a daughter like you, she said. I smiled politely. Didn't tell her what I was really thinking. So do I. December came and went, no tree, no call, no ornament exchange I used to plan. There's a kind of grief no one warns you about. Not from death, but from realizing the people you love chose someone else's version of you over the real one. And once they made that choice, it couldn't be undone. I still keep the folder. Not in my office, not on my desk, just tucked in a drawer near the bookshelf, under old tax returns and a mortgage copy. I haven't opened it since that night. I don't need to. The facts haven't changed, and neither have I.